Everybody, it's Coach Wharton here with onlinebikecoach.com. And today I want to show you some of the post-ride analysis features that are available on the Garmin 1040. Now, I've been enjoying using this device. There were some of those post-ride analysis features on my previous model, the Garmin 1030, but the 1040 really takes the integration with Garmin Connect to a whole different level. Let's go ahead and get started. We're going to begin by taking a look at the main menu here. And what we want to do is scroll up to training status. Now, if we tap on training status, we can see the first menu come up. It's showing that my training status based on the information that it's been given is productive. I've got a green circle. Life is good. It gives me a quick summary of what's occurring and why physiologically, cardiologically. And I've got two arcs underneath that are kind of interesting. The first one shows the VO2 max value. Now, what is VO2 max? VO2 max is the volume of oxygen uptake per kilogram per minute. It's in milliliters per kilogram per minute. That's right. And so it's variable. It varies with your weight and it varies with your fitness. Now, I've seen numbers on this metric as high as 65 and 68, but it's using a heart rate variable algorithm plus weight plus other proprietary metrics, interpretations of the metrics in order to come up with, in this case, a 50. 50 is good. I'm going to keep trying to lose some weight and keep trying to gain some power and see if I can grow that value ever so slightly, probably on the order of every 2 to 3 weeks. We'll have to see how it goes. Now, the second arc is a look at something that's called the Acute 7-day training load. Now, originally, I thought that was an accumulated epoch value, and I'm wrong. Now, what is epoch? I'll explain that in a second, but it basically means excess post-exercise oxidation consumption. Again, let me get into that later. But instead, I realized from the advice of Jim Galanis, a well-known cross-country ski coach and cross-country mountain bike coach, that it's measuring TRIMPS, which is a metric based on heart rate reserve. What is heart rate reserve? It's basically looking at your max wattage, your max heart rate, your min heart rate, and the range that's in between and the time that you spend in those ranges. So right now the value is reading 1213. More importantly, it's right in the middle of the green bars. And we're going to see that metric in a linear fashion in just a second. When I swipe right, I get a superior VO2 max in detail. It also gives me the last 7 days of my VO2 max to see if I am in stasis or if that value is growing. Now, it's still spring. I'm still not at my weight goals, and I know that I have work to do. My power continues to rise ever so slightly, but my weight has been holding steady, and I really need to drop the weight in order to get those milliliters per kilogram per minute to go in the direction that I want. Now, this is one of my favorite charts, the Acute 7-day load. And as you can see, the values go up and down, but more importantly, I've got these ranges in green. I like to talk about those as bookends, meaning when you zoom in like this, you've got the ability to see the bottom of where you can minimally go and the top of where you possibly could go before you are overreaching and leading to the need to recover longer and possibly injury or burnout. It happens. Now, the exercise load is a rolling 7-day calendar. And what this is definitely showing is it's showing the epoch values as well as whether I spent time in low aerobic training for the majority of the ride, high aerobic training for the majority of the ride, or even anaerobic training for the majority of the ride. And I'm basically working on trying to get as much low impact aerobic energy taken care of, because that's something I've traditionally ignored. And now it's time to pay attention to that. However, once or twice, maybe 3 times a week, I will do some high aerobic energy in a group setting, simply because it's just a lot more fun. But we have to temper action with wisdom. And this is another way to look at that and see whether you need to back off or you can pick it up. Now, the load focus is another great little chart. And again, it works on that low aerobic, high aerobic, and anaerobic. It also comes with ghosted rectangles for what it believes are the optimal values. Now, I do not know if these values are epoch-based, TRIMPS-based, or if they are based on minutes. And I've sent a request in to Garmin to explain that, but honestly, it's not on their website. Long story short, if I am outside of those rectangles in one direction or another, I have a vague idea about where I need to be spending some time. If I am inside those zones, then bravo, sally forth. It's a good way to look at things. And again, it keeps it based on breathing, low aerobic, heaving, high aerobic, and gasping, and aerobic. Now, the next chart is a little bit interesting, and it's based, to the best of my ability, it's based on something sort of like the National Institutes of Health, or some of these some of these governing bodies. I don't know enough about it, but what they're basically saying is this: if we go to the word intensity minutes, we get 3 charts. And the first chart is showing what I did in the last X days and how that's accumulating in terms of minutes towards an arbitrary goal. Now, the arbitrary goal defaults at 360 minutes. Why? Well, I think this is sort of a CDC or NIH or some other governing body saying, hey, you need to exercise, and you need to exercise vigorously for about 6 hours a week. And when you do that, good things happen. Again, this is sort of their, hey, this is how you achieve your goals week by week by week. And so you can look at this chart and say, okay, well, how far along am I towards my 360 minutes? And if you look at this, based on the work that I did today, I blew it out of the water, okay? Now, interestingly enough, the next chart shows that when we ride in moderate intensity, the minutes are counted as 1 point per minute. When we ride at vigorous activities, we are getting 2 points per minute towards our 360 minutes. And so this is showing where we are over the course of the week, Monday through Sunday, for our moderate and our vigorous times 2 minutes. And finally, once you've achieved your goals, you can get this chart right here. If that's not the case, it shows you what you might want to do in terms of moderate and vigorous energy in order to get those 360 minutes. Anyway, that's really about it. I've really been enjoying taking a look at the data that's coming in off the 1040. It really is getting more integrated with Garmin Connect. And I know that with the purchase of Firstbeat, which I've been studying since the early 2000s, Garmin's going to continue to try to work towards shifting this paradigm towards more heart health and physiologically based metrics, autonomic based metrics that change with fatigue and change with dehydration and change with other things. We will continue to study some of this stuff, and I'm going to share that with you as I go along in my journey. That's about it. Thanks for watching, and enjoy the ride.